welcome to another episode of Hard Factor, presented by the Barstool News Network. It is Thursday, August 20th, 2020, and we don't worry. We know the DNC is going on. The recap is coming tomorrow. We're watching. We're taking notes. We're going to give a full rundown, completely full rundown, of everything that's gone on in the DNC besides Biden's acceptance speech. But
can I spoil it? We also have a keynote speaker from the DNC on the show tomorrow, correct?
Tentatively scheduled.
Hopefully. Confirmed?
Tentatively. Okay. No, tentative is better than we've been doing with the Democrats, and I did also want to say that we are locking down some Democratic interviews.
We're getting there.
A real-life Democrat. Crazy.
No, I know, in real life. It's crazy. Yeah, it's right there.
You wouldn't believe it. We're close. But first, we've got an interview in the second half of this show with the Secretary of State of Alabama, who's basically a voting registration savant.
Yes.
And then 4 other stories to hit right before that. Definitely want to stick around for that interview. It's pretty cool with John Merrill, Secretary of State of Alabama. Also, one other piece of news. We got moved to the news category in iTunes, which means that we're now in the big pond. All right. We were big fish in the small pond in the government category. Now we're over in the news category. We got to see if we can crack that top 200 for shows and episodes.
Yeah, we really need you to unsubscribe and resubscribe and share in this category. It's the biggest category in
now.
The whole thing.
Yeah, it's the largest category.
So please unsubscribe, resubscribe, tell people.
For today's episode, play it on every device. For tomorrow's episode, play it on every device and get every friend of yours to play it on their device too. It's the only way that we'll crack. We got to make a showing here. We got to try to make put our footprint on
crunch time, boys.
News category.
Hey,
yeah, indeed.
And stickers are back with the new logo design. What up?
Yeah.
And hey,
how many requests do you have within like 6 hours? It was over 150, right?
I think we're at we're around 200 and 200 packs of stickers going out.
Nice.
Here's the deal.
Look, especially if you ask for free stickers, you're going to get them. Please subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe. Yes.
Yeah, I got 2 notes on stickers. The first, if you didn't get your stickers last time, here's why. You're probably an idiot and you put your address in wrong. We've got lots of return to senders not taking responsibility. Also, situation. If you want the stickers, go on our Twitter. We'll pin the tweet. There's a form. You fill it out. There's some other information we're going to ask you for. It's part of, it's a trade. We're going to give you free stickers and we're going to ask you how long you went to school for, how old you are, where you live. It helps us sell ads on the show, which we need to survive, get our full-time contracts. We appreciate you doing that.
Exactly. And we know what cities you're from, so when COVID eventually dies away, we can go do live shows for you.
How
about that?
Let's do the news.
Yeah.
Let's do it. You're up first, Beef.
Yeah, thanks. I just feel weird you not handing it off.
Let's do the news,
You're the quarterback. I'm the
you handed it off to yourself. You literally you were like...
It was a direct snap.
Hike to myself, and then I'm going to hand it to myself. So,
Wildcat formation. When the pressure is on, guys, the mark of a good leader is their ability to prioritize. It's important that when everything seems to be on fire, you focus on putting out the biggest, most threatening fire first, and this can be challenging and take serious resiliency, character, and this is especially if your leadership position requires you to hold people's lives in their hands, right? Would you guys agree?
Yes.
You're talking about doctors.
I'm talking. Well, I could be. Wait, maybe. Let's
redirect.
Any leader is what I heard.
Sorry, I'm guessing.
You just hang in there.
I was thinking more of a military command there, the way you were describing it.
Two great guesses, guys. 2 great guesses. Well, guys, I want to say this. It's important for a leader to take inventory and make tough decisions about what's important. For example, right now, there's 172,000 dead Americans from COVID-19, which makes up 22% of the COVID deaths worldwide. Despite us only having 4.25% of the world's population, we're rocking.
Somebody watched Bill Clinton's speech.
Well, yeah, but I tweaked that. I tweaked it.
Literally a line from it.
No, it's different because Bill Clinton said 4%, and it's more important to talk about deaths than cases. I'm talking about deaths here, Will. That's the real data. We are literally rocketing towards an economic collapse like we've never seen. We have a divided Congress that can't come.
And I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
We have a divided Congress that cannot come to terms on the relief package that America desperately needs. Nancy Pelosi's like, maybe we'll come back. What do you mean you left? People are lining up in droves at food banks all across the nation, which happens to be in the world's biggest economy. We have foreign countries trying to figure out how to meddle in our elections. The states of California and Colorado are literally on fire. Our bread basket is is in a state of emergency after an inland hurricane, and our major cities are still, they're still healing from major civil unrest and unprecedented rioting. Our police are resigning in record numbers, and our people are divided. And general morale in this country is the lowest I've seen in my 34 years. And
I don't know.
I
think Corona's made it worse, but that sounds like the same as the last 20 years. Other than that.
Yeah, no, you're right. 2020 is totally comparable to the last 20 years. It's a bad year. And guys, to top it all off, all these tough things a leader might face, a factory worker at a tire factory in Topeka, Kansas, posted an unverified image to social media of a PowerPoint presentation that appears to show that tire company's policy disallowing their employees from wearing MAGA gear at work. I mean, pick your poison, right, guys? Which fire are you going to put out first? Tough call on where to start here, unless, of course, the extreme.
But how do you mean put out the fire? So you mean one thing is send a tweet, and the other is like create work groups and stuff.
What I mean, Will, is
I see what you did there, Beef.
That doesn't make much sense to me.
Well, okay. What I mean, Will, is
you're being sarcastic.
Yes.
You're saying this Goodyear tire thing is not a big deal.
Shit has hit the fucking fan, and Donald Trump felt the need to ask Americans to boycott an American company instead of, focusing his effort on any of these other nasty things.
Well, what did they do?
Well, here's what happened, guys. Apparently, there was a slide that went around from a diversity training. One employee at a Topeka, Kansas factory shared this on social media and said, "They say we can't wear MAGA gear," to which President Trump ran with it, and he tweeted, "Don't buy Goodyear tires. They announced a ban on MAGA hats. Get better tires for far less," open parentheses. This is what the radical left Democrats do. Two can play the same game, and we have to start playing it now. And guys, 1 minute later, shares of the Ohio-based Goodyear fell to a low of 915, down 6%.
Well, you don't want the president of the United States calling for a boycott on your company. That's going to hurt.
Hey, stop telling them they can't wear the fucking hats.
More offensive than the MAGA stuff was on the bad list was Blue Lives Matter, and on the good list was BLM. So you were allowed to rock all the BLM you wanted, but you couldn't rock Blue Lives Matter either.
That slide was outrageous. If it existed, it should have never been shown at a company. It was very very partisan.
Guys,
but here's what I say. No, Beef, you had your 5 minutes. Here's what I would say to anyone. It goes both ways. If you boycott beans because you do or don't like Trump, but those were your favorite dinner beans, and now you're not eating your favorite beans, you're a weirdo. If you boycott tires and again, you can do the research. Goodyear may or may not be the best tires. They may or may not be the best price. They may or may not be the safest. But if you originally thought they were, and they're protecting you and your family, and you now boycott them over this, it goes on both sides. It's a little weird.
I disagree.
I don't.
I think it's totally fine to if they're infringing on your freedom of speech. This fucking company telling
Goodyear's
you
not infringing on.
Well, they're taking a fucking side, obviously.
Well,
or at least this guy
might have. This one factory might have.
They didn't stop
it. They retracted it. They retracted it.
They retracted it after they saw the hammer coming down.
Corporate tried to retract it, but the damage is done. Let me just ask you this.
Goya's just as bad.
Well, let me just ask you this: from a money standpoint, who buys more fucking expensive
truck drivers?
Right. So this for Goodyear specifically as a company, this could be more of a detrimental blow than to other industries.
I agree with you there. Yes,
gentlemen.
Yes, I agree with you there. Will.
You guys are all dumb as shit because it was an unverified fucking tweet. Some guy tweeted a thing and the president ran with it.
That's what I just said,
Also, gentlemen, imported tires are sold in this fucking country. We are in an economic goddamn crisis. When you have a leader, you want the leader to not make it about himself. Just fucking let it go, dude.
So you're saying that wasn't displayed at a Goodyear meeting?
Well, here's what happened. Goodyear Tires then responded by saying...
Is that what you're saying?
They said the slide was, quote, not created or distributed by Goodyear corporate whatsoever.
Not by corporate, but one of their employees at their offices.
What if they fire that person?
Guys, it was one factory. This is the point. Some dude took a picture of a slide that was not from corporate, posted it to the internet, and our president, without verification, ran with it and asked Americans to boycott an American company.
It was a Goodyear presentation at work.
Yeah, but Beef, you're being too cold on it. If it was a Goodyear presentation at a factory, that shouldn't have happened.
It's one fucking
Yeah, but
That's
factory.
the idiot that runs the factory.
Right.
Yeah.
You let
He
it
should be fired.
You let
He
it
should-
go. Right now is not the time to ask anyone to boycott any American company when there's
Well, what about Goya? You didn't have a problem with that.
Yeah, you didn't say anything about Goya.
Goya has nothing to do with this.
It does.
What do you mean?
It's two brands
None
that have been
whatsoever. The
boycotted
guy-
in the last like 2 weeks.
The Goya guy supported
one by the left, one by the right.
the Goya guy.
And my stance is all boycotts on either side. If you prefer that product, you're a silly goose. And maybe you prefer your partisanship over the product, and that then now becomes your favorite thing. But to me, that's just weird.
All right, well, let me finish the fucking information. So they deny that it was from corporate.
Oh, please.
They further clarified, and they said it was not part of a diversity training class either. So probably what it was, if it wasn't fake, if it was real, it was one area, one plant, not from corporate Goodyear.
Yes. Someone should be fired, though.
They further
Yeah.
clarified, guys, that their general policy indicates that they ask their employees to keep their workplace nonpartisan, saying, quote, "We do allow our
Sure.
associates to express their support on racial injustice and other equity issues, but ask they refrain from workplace expressions, verbal or otherwise, in support of political campaigning for any candidate or political party, as well as other similar forms of advocacy that fall outside the scope of equity issues." So if you want to know
Agreed.
what specifically it was acceptable. Black Lives Matter, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender pride, unacceptable. Blue Lives Matter, all lives matter. MAGA attire, politically affiliated
Right.
slogans or material. Again, Goodyear's denying it's from corporate.
Yeah, it's not.
It's
definitely
not from corporate. It's
definitely not
from a
corporate.
dumb HR rep at that
Yeah.
factory that put it on a thing for somebody to take a picture of and post
I have no
online.
conflict of interest. I don't know a single person that works at Goodyear. What I'm saying is it is also unfair if they retract it and if they fire this person to
Gentlemen,
continue
the
ban
point
on
is
Goodyear.
we shouldn't be having this conversation because the president shouldn't have taken
One
an
bad apple.
unverified tweet and tweeted it saying to
Okay.
boycott an American
Yeah, agreed.
company. That's,
Agreed.
that's my whole point.
It does have the logo. I mean, it's got the logo on it.
You're right, Wes. Bill Johnson says F Goodyear and anyone who has a problem with what Trump tweeted. So me, that's okay. Antonio Plaza says, I have a small fleet of trucks, not going to do Southern accent, 7 tractor trailers, 18 tires per truck. That's 126 tires in total. I just gave instructions to every driver and administrative personnel not to buy Goodyear anymore. If they do, they will be fired on the spot. Yeah.
This is going to happen. I mean, like it's more detrimental to Goodyear. My only thing is it's a bigger mistake by Goodyear than by Goya because it's like this is really going to be detrimental for Goodyear because a lot of truck drivers and people in charge of buying truck tires are probably going to be offended.
So different. The guy that owns
not
Goya supported
beef.
Trump. People chose to boycott his company on their
Well,
own.
no,
This is the
AOC called for a boycott, just
She's
like
not the
Trump
president
called
of the
for a
United States.
boycott.
She's not the
Yeah,
president.
but
Both
she's
sides
an
call for
elected official.
boycotts way too many times on products. It's just ridiculous. But Beav, I'm not trying to trap you too hard here, but I am trying to trap you. You said you're not going to do the accent. What does that mean? Because the accent was for stupid people. A guy that owns a fleet of trucks, I wouldn't consider stupid. He might be Southern, so you could do a Southern accent, but I wouldn't consider that person stupid. Anyways, let's move on to another story.
What do you want?
I'm saying this is
All right, let's take it to
a
prediction real quick.
shorter story.
Okay, all right. Well, just
Hey, nice try, Beef.
Take it to the next. Yeah,
Yeah,
nice
nice
try.
try,
You
Beef.
guys are right. I'm wrong. We definitely was an appropriate tweet. Keep it focused on the real important issues right now, guys.
I don't know
How many
about
people
right,
died
wrong.
while that tweet was coming out?
No, Pat. I don't think about right, wrong.
It's a word. Let me take time out of my day. Fuck this American
reminds
company.
me-
Drop their stock
reminds me-
when we're in an economic fucking crisis and people are
Well, you
selling
guys
fucking
all-
Japanese tires in our goddamn country and this fucking dude can't take a. He
Beef.
can't,
Pat,
Get off your high horse. Let's move on.
You got. I look. I acknowledge I got too worked up over the Goya. I think
Yeah, you
you're
did.
in my. I think you're in my
because
situation
it's
with
stupid
the
to
Goya.
boycott a company because some guy
Okay,
supports a
look,
political
we got
candidate.
an
That's
interview, a
different.
20-minute interview. We got to move on to through the fucking show, Beef. Stop hijacking the show.
All right, let's move it along to another way less political topic. Laura Loomer. Just kidding. This is ultra political. All right, we've got another potentially crazy person who may win a congressional seat in America. And this one comes to us mostly from conservative listeners because they are terrified of her becoming a part of the Republican Party because that's how toxic this person is. And we're talking about Laura Loomer.
This is someone we can all hate. We can all hate this person.
Oh,
we can,
I
we
would
can
hope so.
unify.
Here we go.
Yeah, and let's talk about why we could all hate her. This first part isn't necessarily why. She's a Matt Gaetz backed candidate, just like his son Nestor will also one day be eventually, I'm sure. And she doesn't disappoint in terms of also looking like a Batman villain like Gaetz. I think Gaetz would make a great Two-Face if he went half burnt. But Laura Loomer is a dead ringer for Danny DeVito's Penguin. If you guys.
Yeah.
Look at that side to
wow.
side there.
Matt Gaetz and anyone would have to burn half their face to look like Two-Face, but Laura
Right, but
Loomer
he has,
already
like,
already looks like.
Exactly.
wow.
She's full on penguin already. But Laura Loomer just won the Republican primary for a congressional seat in Florida's 21st congressional district. And the problem with that, fellas, the reason that everybody can kind of openly hate on her is because she openly wants to discriminate against all Islamic people in America. And the not only that, another issue would
Not
be that.
just.
Yeah, it would be that President Donald Trump immediately openly campaigned for her on Twitter after she won her primary. He said, "Great going, Laura. You have a great chance against that Pelosi puppet." And that's congratulating her on her win. He then retweeted a bunch of articles from far-right publications about her, praising her. And that Pelosi puppet that Donald Trump is referring to that she's facing, Laura Loomer's facing in November, is incumbent Lois Frankel, who will probably win the pretty Democratic Palm Beach County district, which is Florida 21. But again, the concern is that Trump would just be blindly throwing support behind a candidate who is so vile.
Well, how do you know she's so vile? Will?
Let's get to it. Let's get to the list of things she's been banned from for being a racist, or I don't know, what is it? What's somebody who hates all Islamic people
Ethnicist?
blindly?
Islamophobe.
She's
Yeah,
an
Islamophobe.
Islamophobe. There
But
you go.
It's bigger than that. She's just a piece of shit.
It's mostly the Islamophobia, from what I can gather, though. And this is what she's been banned from for that: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Medium, PayPal, Venmo, GoFundMe, Uber, and Lyft. She's been banned from Uber.
Banned from
She's so-
PayPal.
Yeah.
She got banned from banks. Banks said, "No, we're cool. We don't want your money."
She's using a teller that's could be Muslim, and she flips out. Yeah.
Oh,
Let's
freaks
hear what
out completely. Yeah, like, are you gonna bomb me? Okay, Twitter refuses to bring Loomer back, even though she's a formal congressional candidate now, which is big. Good call. Here's some of her work. Here's Laura Loomer in 2017 saying, "Good, clappy emoji. Here's to 2,000 more." That was quote tweeting a tweet from somebody who said that 2,000 migrants had died trying to cross the Mediterranean.
Those
far
would be
that year.
African migrants trying to get to like Greece, which has nothing to do with anywhere near
Nothing to do
where
with
she
her
is.
at all.
She's never gonna see those dead people or the people that would have had them enter their country.
Oh,
So,
fuck her.
Yeah.
Oh, horrible, horrible stuff. Just rooting for their death because they are Muslim. Okay, here's another Laura Loomer tweet from November 2017. "Someone needs to create a non-Islamic form of @Uber or @Lyft because I never want to support another Islamic immigrant driver." That's probably what got her banned from Uber and Lyft.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
What happened to her? What happened to her?
She's a far right like instigator essentially.
There's something more for that kind of like vile hate. I mean, there's got
wants attention. That's
You ever
for
walked
Jesus.
into a room and said something you know you shouldn't have, but got a positive reaction and liked it? And then she did that, but then she just kept running it down, is what happened. And look,
a million times in a row.
she might just be a light-skinned Native American. I mean, like,
Maybe she was one of the buildings. Maybe she was one of the two towers.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
it'd have to be.
Yeah,
Literally.
Short of that, in fact, even that. Let's
Yeah.
get real. There's no excuse for this type of Islamophobia that she's displaying. Loomer was specifically banned from Twitter in 2018 after disparaging posts about Democratic Minnesota rep Ilhan Omar and her Muslim faith. And Loomer subsequently handcuffed herself to Twitter's New York headquarters in protest of her ban, again seeking the attention, like I was mentioning. And I'm a noted not fan of Ilhan Omar, but you got to give me a fucking break. Just because like she's terrible doesn't mean you can hate all Muslim people. So that's
Well, her
just
faith
the
has
way the
nothing to
world
do
is.
with it. She's an American.
Loomer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oof. Loomer.
Yeah,
Jesus.
Loomer's not good.
I'm going to sacrifice the time for my story to give Beeve 10 more minutes on Goodyear.
No,
Please.
I mean, but,
It was you
I
who
mean,
reacted without knowing that it was an unverified picture,
Look,
Mark.
look,
No, rewind the tape. I
Look,
said
look,
it's one factor either way. It's not a big deal. I fuck off. We're not going back there.
I don't agree necessarily with the Beeves' take on the Goodyear, but
No one
to the
does.
Well, hold on. But to the Beeves' point, right here, embracing somebody like Loomer seems like one of those things where you're trying to, shock the lightning rod.
Those are mutually exclusive. Loomer sucks, and boycotting things for very small reasons is also silly.
But Mark, would you not say that calling for the boycott of Goodyear and then piping up somebody like Loomer is gripping the lightning rod and trying to get people to divide?
Trump doesn't look great in the first two stories. I'm not gonna. I'm not a Trump stan for the first two stories, but that's neither here nor there with the 12 minutes of the beef. All right,
right,
guys.
I got you. Different situations, but in the same way, looking like trying to maybe toss some red meat out to
do
the
not
crowd.
back Loomer. Okay, guys.
No.
Here's another disaster of a story. Look, have you guys heard of the beautiful island of Maury? God damn it! I practiced this before.
I think I know the name.
Mauritius. Mauritius. I think it's Mauritius. I think it's Mauritius. Have you heard of it? This island?
I've definitely heard of it, but I've never been able to pronounce it. Thanks for teaching me.
I've heard of Mauritius.
Well, the
No, I'm kidding.
auto-
No, I'm joking.
Thank you. Oof. You got me worried there. Well, it's nestled.
Is it an archipelago?
No, it's not an archipelago, but it has a few small islands next to it. The big ones, it's kind of like Tahiti is the big island, Papeete, but it's got like a Bora Bora type thing around it. But the big island, it's in the Indian Ocean. It's a well kept secret. It's a paradise for tourists, similar to French Polynesia. And yeah, it's actually really famous for its underwater waterfall, which is this beautiful illusion, like one of the well-kept wonders of the world, where it looks like there's a waterfall rolling from the shore into the ocean, deeper into the ocean, of this never-ending thing, and it's really just sand rolling off of the cliff edge, but because the water's so clear, it looks like there's just this waterfall right off the edge of this beautiful island. Well, guess what? Damn. On July 25th, the Japanese bulk carrier MV Wakashio broke apart into two pieces on a reef near the coastal regions of Mauritius, more specifically at Point d'Assani, which is a known sanctuary for rare wildlife, the rarest in the world. So Not good. Think Exxon Valdez, a little smaller, but in a worse spot. Over 200,000 gallons.
Oh, no.
Yeah, over 200.
Bad?
Yeah, well, 200,000 gallons of oil already spilled into the lagoons, creating an oil slick that could be seen from space, endangering corals, fish, and other marine life.
No.
Yeah, it's really bad. It's really, really bad.
It's not a good time right now. You got oil spills you can see from space, and you got smoke clouds from fires you can see from space. It's just not. It's not ever good when you see bad things from space.
I found out about this place, which is like literally one of the most beautiful places on Earth, and now it's not. The oil also got to another small island, Île aux Aigrettes, which is a nature reserve that contains some of the rarest species in the world as well. So people aren't even really on there. That's like the little island to the side that had rare birds and plants. The oil got to there. A team of experts from Japan traveled to Mauritius to help with the cleanup, which is the least they could do, along with thousands of local volunteers. And they've got a lot of the oil out, but not all of it, including half of the tanker, which is just still stuck in a reef. And do you guys want to hear how it happened?
Yes.
Means
negligence?
Let me hear about this idiot
negligence.
captain.
You're right, Beef. 58-year-old captain of the oil tanker, Sunil Kumar Nandeshwar, has been arrested and charged with endangering safe navigation. There are two conflicting reports coming out of how it happened, and both sound like they probably are true. Like, they don't need to be one or the other. I think both probably happened. One is he threw himself a birthday party the day of the crash, which I'm sure everyone got hammered at. And the second is that he was trying to get too close to the shore to get Wi-Fi and hit the reef. I'm assuming probably to order strippers and booze for his party.
That's what happened in Valdez, man. That's what happened in Valdez. The guy was kicking back on some cold ones on the ship. Not good for the captain.
Damn.
Not good at all, guys. This jackass literally crashed an oil tanker into one of Earth's premier, rare, and beautiful, environmentally protected marine ecosystems like a bull in a china shop. Not good.
That sucks.
You can donate, by the way, if you go to, I'll spell it, MAURITIAN -wildlife.org/donate, because they need some help there.
So this guy just got hammered and then crashed his oil and then destroyed an
into
island.
like the gardens of Babylon, like into like the most beautiful fucking place on earth, and just took a shit in it. Yeah.
Do they have? I mean, do they get to try this guy in this Mauritius place?
Yeah, who's going to try the animals? Like,
Yeah.
It's gonna be kangaroo court. Will, there's no people there.
There are a few. There are thousands of volunteers, but yeah, I mean, like yes, he's going to get in trouble, but the damage is done permanently to this beautiful place on Earth.
That's sad.
I'm gonna
All right,
go
let's
look
get on.
at the pictures.
Let's get on to some better news.
Google underwater waterfall.
I've seen that on TV. It's
Oh, it's
spectacular.
beautiful.
Yeah, it's spectacular.
Mauritius. It's pronounced Mauritius.
It was spectacular. That's
Mauritius.
right. Okay. All right. Will, you'll like this one. More good news for the marijuana community coming out of Colorado, as the state has started operating their first weed vending machines in some of the dispensaries there. So a company called Anna has rolled out these amazing machines that can hold over 2,000 products. So not your normal vending machine. They can hold like oils and flour, edibles, drinks, and are designed to serve the pothead who knows exactly what he or she wants and can use the machine without standing in line. So, you know,
Skip those pesky lines.
Right. Dispensary lines were the worst, right? So
They really are. There's nothing worse. Okay, you guys, like if you move to a legal
A
state.
new customer.
Oh man, the guy that needs to talk about every product with the bud tender. Like literally, there will be one of those, at least one per visit to the dispensary.
What do you think the
and they will be
average
taking
time?
up one of the registers for like 10 minutes in a row.
At least, like, and there's what, like, depending on the size, obviously you've got bigger dispensaries, but let's just say there's 4 workers that are actively helping people at the shop. They'll take up one of those 4 workers for 20 to 30 minutes.
20, 30 easy. And then they'll buy like $17 worth of weed.
I'm that guy every time I go to one of these states.
You like an Englishman complaining about lines at the bar in the 1920s, like to an American. Shut the fuck up.
Right, the prohibition.
Yeah, you know
part.
what's way
Well,
worse is trying to deal with a shady motherfucker who has to come into your home all the time to sell you limited amounts of marijuana, limited quantities of variety.
That's a very good point.
At least you're not inside the Mauritian oil spill.
But I don't want
like,
you to get held
still
up
take
at the fucking candy store. So.
Yeah.
The bees making a strong comeback in the second half of the show.
I mean, it's a solid point. I'm just saying, you will be annoyed with it. It's like what you get used to, right? You take things for granted. We were talking about how, like, we used to think ACL and South by Southwest was annoying sometimes on the days you didn't go because the fucking traffic. But wouldn't you want that back now? It's like, it's all relative.
It's like when your favorite restaurant gets famous and everyone wants to go fucking eat there. It's like, you know, Franklin barbecue.
Tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's definitely worse than pretending to be friends with someone and having to hang out with them for 30, 40 minutes when you just want to buy their product. So
You want to play some Madden, bro?
It's like Pineapple Express. It's like the scene from Pineapple Express. Yeah.
The worst is when you'd have to play a game of Madden when you go in to buy back.
high school weed when you have to be, hi, Mrs. So-and-so. Yeah, no, we're still friends. I'm just going to be in and out.
No, we're still friends. Well, guys, as you can imagine with COVID keeping people at home, nothing to do but toke up a little bit. According to a CNN article, sales of medical and recreational cannabis in Colorado set records in May and June, according to state revenue data. So through the first half of 2020, Colorado weed's dispensary sales were $978 million of flower, edibles, and concentrate, up 20% from last year. So they're having a big year.
Good.
So far, only 2 of these machines are in operation, but likely will be in a dispensary near you soon. They're also rolling out CBD-only machines. And in those machines, who knows? Maybe you'll find some excellent products from our sponsor, Caliper CBD.
Also from Colorado. There we go.
That's right. So you guys, what's great about CBD is that it helps you feel better without making drastic changes to your routine. You know, I used to pop this in my tea. It was great. How do you guys use this?
Sleepy time tea or water, but
Anything.
Yeah.
Anything. I'm a daytime guy. Mark and Pat, I don't like to take it at night, but I'm a daytime user of the Caliper.
Right.
It just relaxes me.
Yeah, far superior to those tinctures, those disgusting tasting tinctures. These Caliper CBD packets are amazing. No taste. They dissolve in anything, in your favorite beverage. Enter Caliper CBD packets, a better way to consume CBD. Unlike CBD oils, Caliper CBD powder, completely tasteless. Like I said, goes in your drinks. No oily residue or mouthfeel like tinctures. Precisely 20 milligrams in each packet of Caliper CBD.
Wes, can I stop you?
Yeah.
You know what's in tinctures? Like you already said, oil. You know what's in oil, or you know what's in tankers? Oil. It's like if you support destroying Mauritia, then go ahead and get tinctures.
No,
Yeah.
Caliper would never. All right.
No.
Those waters would be.
You think a bunch of
crystal
powder would have hurt that beautiful place?
No.
I don't think so.
It would have made it more. You want to go there more. Oil and water don't mix. CBD oil is no different. It's clinically proven that you absorb 450% more CBD with Caliper CBD powder compared to tinctures. Caliper gives you all the benefits of CBD in just 15 minutes, about twice as fast as that CBD oil. So Caliper comes in affordable 10 and 30 count packs. Get started for under $20. Unlike some other products out there, Caliper is completely THC free, so you don't get high. You get all the benefits of that CBD. All natural, non-GMO ingredients, no fillers, added chemicals, or artificial flavors. Get 20% off your first order when you use promo code FACTOR at trycaliper.com/factor. You can try Caliper CBD risk-free for 30 days. If you don't love it, they'll give you a full refund. That's trycaliper.com/factor. Don't forget promo code FACTOR for 20% off your first order. And now, with that comes a great interview, as we mentioned at the top of the show, with Alabama Secretary of State John Merrill, here to talk some Alabama LSU, some mail-in voting, some going back to school. Here you go.
Okay, welcome to the show, former Alabama House of Representative member and current Alabama Secretary of State John Merrill. Thank you for joining us on Hard Factor today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to be with y'all.
Awesome. We're excited to have you. So we got a few questions for you today. Obviously, election season is, well, I mean, it's here, right? DNC was this week, RNC is next week. People need to register to vote now if they haven't already. And we heard you were heavily involved in a voter registration app in Alabama. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, actually, I have been a proponent of increasing voting opportunities and voting rights for people as a member of the legislature and certainly as Secretary of State. One of the things that we've done since I've been the Secretary is to ensure that each and every eligible U.S. citizen that's a resident of Alabama has been given the opportunity to become a registered voter and to obtain a photo ID. And since January the 19th, 2015, which is 5 years and 7 months ago today, we have registered 1,597,331 new voters.
Nice.
Oh.
Nice.
Yeah,
We're
we
gonna
now
fact
have
check that number.
Who's counting?
Yeah.
we now have a state record 3,631,381 registered voters in the state of Alabama. No state in the union has done what we've done in the same period of time, and our numbers
You've increased your numbers almost by a third. That's crazy.
Wow. Yeah. Everyone should register to vote. We're big on that on this show. So congratulations there. That's a good thing you're doing there.
Yeah, that's amazing. I would imagine nothing gets you more excited than registering people to vote, it sounds like. What's
you correct that assumption, but I can tell you that as far as work is concerned, I'd say that I'm always excited and enthusiastic about that. But in my life, it's not nearly that boring, son.
right.
Yeah,
Is your
enough.
wife ever like, come on, John, you're going to go and register more people tonight? Spend some time with me.
That's right.
All right. Well, I do gotta say to you, Secretary John Merrill, your hair, man, is fantastic. You got quite a bit of volume there. What's your routine that you got that volume?
Well, I appreciate that. You're kind to notice. I don't work extraordinarily hard on it, but the Lord gifted me with whatever I have. I just try to work with it.
I hear that. Yeah, I got it from the other side. Mine's Satan, but I've been using
biotin a lot recently.
Man. But hey, my big question for you. So a couple things. So we got this whole mail-in voting situation, right?
Sure.
I know that you had said recently that masks would not be mandatory at the polling places, which makes total sense, right? You can't put a restriction on people's right to vote.
Correct.
But I got a two-part question for you. One, obviously it's your duty to say, hey, man, no masks required, but do you wish that they were required in some respects for safety?
Well, certainly. Look, this is the thing. I wear a mask when I'm out. The governor has required people to wear a mask through the proclamation that she issued, and the Centers for Disease Control recognizes that as a best practice. Dr. Scott Harris, our state health officer in Alabama, has indicated that people need to be wearing masks. We socially distance. Grace is still wearing her mask in here with me now. because that's what we are supposed to be doing. I wish
we saw that. We saw that. I thought I thought that might have been for sure. That's impressive that she's wearing a mask in your office.
Yeah, and she's really attractive. So when she's hiding her face, that's a disappointment for y'all.
No, I was a little bit mad about that.
Man.
A little bit mad about that.
We noticed that too. The mask doesn't hide that. Yeah.
But it's protocol, and that's why she does it, which is why I do it, and that's why we encourage people to do it. But what you need to understand is it's important to make sure that you're trying to keep other people safe as well. So we encourage people to wear masks, but we can't require them to wear masks. We even go so far as to encourage our probate judges to let us know if they want to have masks at each one of the 1,980 polling sites in the state. We'll provide them for free for all voters. So
Good to know.
we want to make sure that that is taken advantage of because it is offered.
So that's part one of my question. Part two, Secretary, is
just before you
please.
finish, I think it's important to note that when the governor issued the order to require people to wear masks, she had a provision in there that exempted elections. And so that specifically said people do not have to wear masks when they go vote.
Yeah, totally. It's kind of a sticky situation, because you can't put that restriction on, but I get where you're coming from. Okay, but my second part of my question is, have you heard from the Trump administration about mail-in voting? I know that a lot of people are saying that this election is trying to be stolen by Trump because he's trying to meddle with the post office at a time when people are going to be mail-in voting, right, because of COVID. And he's criticizing it in some respects, but in other respects saying it's good, for example, in Florida. Have you heard from them? What's your take on that? Do you feel like the election is trying to be stolen?
We have conversations with the Trump administration. We've had conversations more with our colleagues from around the nation who are secretaries of state, both Democrats and Republicans, talking about the issues that are so very important related to elections, and voting by mail through the absentee process or through universal vote by mail are so very important. But let me say this. I think it's important to note this. The problems with the post office are not new. The first time it was introduced to me that we had significant problems with the post office related to the elections process was in April of 2016, Carlsbad, California, at a conference that I attended for the Election Assistance Commission. The Assistant Postmaster General came to us and talked about the frustration that the Postal Service had and that we were already experiencing about the delay of mail through the Postal Service related to the elections process.
Oh, wow.
He was encouraging us at that time to change our deadlines to make it easier for people to have their paperwork processed. Now, when we passed comprehensive absentee election reform in 2019, one of the things that we addressed was the opportunity for our voters in our state not to utilize the Postal Service exclusively. They can also utilize any nationally or regionally recognized carrier that does this every day.
Oh, really?
Wow.
FedEx, DHL, those are companies that can provide those services. The voter has to pay for it, but it's an option they can choose to exercise if they want to.
That makes sense, but are you concerned? Because obviously, you're a Republican, you align with that party in some respects, but really, it seems like your main gig and your main passion is, getting turnout, getting the people to participate in the democratic process. Does it feel like the timing is odd with the Trump administration meddling with the post office right now? And how do you feel about that? It seems like
but look, let's be serious, okay? Now, everybody that's watching this, and everybody within the sound of our voice knows that the post office is the most inefficient, the most ineffective, and the most inoperable form of the federal government that people come in contact with on a daily basis. Everybody knows that. I got
a note. Sorry to interrupt you, sir. I got a note from my post office person yesterday because my trash can was too close to the mailbox on trash day, and it was at least 4 feet away. They wrote a handwritten note telling me they weren't going to give me my mail that day because
and that's been getting worse
my
since
friggin'
2000,
trash can was in the way. Yeah.
When do you saying, sir?
When do you accept mail-in votes in Alabama? When does that start?
Well, the last day to make application for the absentee process is October the 29th, which is 5 days before the election. The last day to return your absentee ballot in person is close of business on November the 2nd, the day before the election. The last day the absentee ballot can come in the mail to the absentee election manager is noon on election day. But look, another thing we need to make clear is that the day to worry about whether or not your mail-in ballot is going to be received is not October the 25th. It's not October the 28th. It's not November the 2nd. It's August the 19th, August the 20th, August the 21st. There's no reason for you to wait to cast your ballot by mail today. Go ahead.
Yeah, you got to get it in early. Yeah, if you want to.
So that's what I was asking. You could start now. You can.
Yeah, but look, the ballot is not going to change. You know, Donald Trump is going to be the Republican nominee. Joe Biden is going to be the Democratic nominee. They're going to be on the ballot whether you vote today or whether you vote November the 3rd. So vote today.
Right. I love how much you love elections. I love it.
You don't think AOC is going to change their mind nominating Bernie?
Well, look, she gave it her best effort last night, and her results were reflective of her results in other areas.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, she hadn't been able to hit it on the head yet. Let's move it on to a different subject here. Tuscaloosa, University of Alabama. We've seen pictures. They're already partying. I'm an LSU Tiger, by the way. Sorry, Secretary. But you know, Auburn, Bama, the whole SEC, everybody's going to try to go 20% stadium capacity for this football season. And I just want to know, I think you're a Bama man yourself. How are you feeling about that?
I have 12 season tickets to every Alabama football game. And I was notified yesterday that I could have 2 tickets to one of 2 packages that were options for me to take advantage of. And so that's unfortunate and disappointing, especially because we're already planning to go to Baton Rouge. I mean, I've been to Baton Rouge 10 times. And
I bet.
Hey, my friend, never lost.
Well, it's a good thing we finally got one back in Tuscaloosa last year, because 8 years in a row, losing was pretty tough being on the other side of that. I'll tell you.
Right. And y'all had a great year. You had a great team. It was a great.
Hats off.
You got our sloppy seconds, so and there's nothing you can change about that with that Nick Saban fella. So
yeah,
we had him first. Just saying.
So, do you think that the season, though, is going to get all the way through, I guess is what I'm trying to get at, do you think we're going to see any hiccups in the road on this in terms of the way the SEC is approaching it, or are you comfortable with all that?
I think that Commissioner Sankey has done everything he possibly could to ensure a successful preparation for the season. I think that the athletic directors have done all they could do to make sure that the teams are properly prepared. I think the head coaches are doing all they can to make sure protocols are being followed. And I think that we'll have a successful season in 2020. And Alabama will be crowned national champion one more.
No.
Well, no.
We'll see. You
just made our intern Bubba very proud.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Transitioning back to politics, though, and keeping it still with football a little bit, were you surprised to see Sessions finally lose in Alabama and to a football coach?
Well, let me say this. With all the things that Senator Sessions had to go through to get back to the point where he was, the results were very impressive for Coach Tuberville. I was with Coach Tuberville yesterday. Coach Tuberville has done an outstanding job of presenting himself as a streamlined, conservative candidate to our people. He had universal name recognition. People are comfortable with him as an individual. They enjoy talking to him and they enjoy visiting with him. Senator Sessions had a mountain to overcome, not just the obstacles that were created because of his service as the Attorney General, but the fact that the president did not want him to go back to Washington as our junior United States Senator. He made that very clear. Our people were very receptive to that message, and that's the reason why Coach Tuberville was so very successful on July 14th in the runoff.
But be honest, with Tuberville, you guys just check football, right? Like, that's
what I was going to ask.
Right?
If Tuberville wins in November, are you going to call him Coach Senator?
Yeah, it's just.
I'll probably, to be honest with you, just continue to call him Coach as most people.
Yeah, it's kind of. You guys are like the White Sox farm league team when MJ went to go play baseball. I feel like with that Tuberville character, you like to have him around. You know what I mean? He's a lot of fun. He's a big star.
Well,
whether he can hit the ball, I don't know.
I think he'll be very well received in D.C., especially by the Republicans, because a lot of them will want to talk to him about ball and about his.
Oh, yeah. They want to know what defense their school should run this weekend.
Just using
if their
football
school's playing.
euphemisms.
He'll
It's
be
the fourth
popular at
quarter,
the lunch
Tommy.
table. Yeah.
This is true. This is all true.
All right, Mr. Secretary, I got one more question for you, maybe. So I want to turn it over to schools. You know, it's a big topic today. Is schools reopening? You were the spokesperson for the Tuscaloosa School District. I have a son who's in 5th grade here in Austin. Schools are not open. I'm basically a prisoner in my own house because he's in online schooling. I have the luxury of being able to stay here with him during the day. A lot of people don't have that luxury. With people, you know, the service workers, whoever it is, that need to go to their jobs but have kids that need to stay home or be online. What do you think about that? I mean, what's the solution here for people in that position, and just your overall thoughts on reopening of schools?
Well, let me say this. My wife and I were just talking about that earlier today. I was the spokesperson for the Tuscaloosa County school system for 16 years and 31 days. I also coordinated the after-school care program in Tuscaloosa County. And my wife is a 30-year retired educator. And one of the things that we were lamenting was the disappointment that so many students are away from their classmates and away from their local school instructor, their teacher in their classroom. So they're not getting that nourishment that they need from that teacher in encouraging that child to learn and to work hard every day. But I think those decisions are best left to the local school systems in our state, as well as Texas and other states around the union, because I can't tell you what's best for the schools in Alabama, let alone in another state of the union. I do know that Dr. Mackey has done a good job in empowering our superintendents to make the decisions that are best for them in the 140 plus school systems in the state of Alabama. But I can't wait for the COVID to be gone so we can return to some sense of normalcy for our people.
Yeah, it's tough.
Plus, you get 10 more tickets to the games.
I know. You're going to find out who your true
Right.
fans
Well,
are.
the tickets back.
This
This
season
year's just going to be different. I think it's going to be overall not going to be a typical school year, obviously, for athletics or students.
That's right.
Does anyone have anything else?
I got to ask one more question. This is a bit of a personal question. You're a fact machine, right? Like, has anyone ever called you the fact machine? Like, how does your brain work, man? Because you know those numbers off the top of your head.
It irritates my wife, the way that I do
I
what
could imagine.
I did for y'all. But, it's just like, your colleague there talking about LSU and how much he enjoys Tiger football. Well, and the reason that I'm not engaged in more of a banner with him is because there's absolutely no need. We won the national championship in 1925, 1926, 1930, 1934, 1941, 1961, 64, 65, 73, 78, 79, 92, 09, 11, 12.
Hey, but
15.
you know what? I was only there for 03 to 07. I don't think we lost to Alabama.
I mean, it's not much
When
of a
we had Nick
rivalry
Saban.
if it's one-sided. Rivalries are supposed to go both ways. So,
Do you work at that, Secretary, or you just got that? Is that God-given, or do you work at that? That was impressive.
That is impressive.
Look, the Lord has blessed me with a good memory and the ability to communicate with people on what I would consider an effective basis. And as long as I'm able to continue to do that, I want to be able to use those talents positively. But it is something.
Do you think it's using them positively to argue that Alabama is definitely the most dominant football
in his
program
state? I
of all
would say
time?
so. In his state, yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Well, all right.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're essentially we're the first men on the moon there with Saban. So, enjoy him.
I went to Virginia Tech, and we haven't won anything.
So, anyway, Secretary, this has been super informative. We are super appreciative of how passionate you are about registering voters and voter turnout, and I think that's really great and very admirable. And we appreciate your comments at the post office, and you're dead on right. To all our listeners out there, register to vote right now. If you're worried about the mail-in shit, get your ballots out there tomorrow. Great point.
Yep.
The candidates are not changing.
Right?
Thank you for coming on, Mr. Secretary. Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. John Merrill, what a guy, right? I mean,
That was a fun talk. Fun conversation.
I want to say I interrupted him for the post office thing because hard loyal listeners of the show will know that my family's spent about 100 years delivering the mail, so I couldn't have all that bashing of the USPS.
We also got a lot of mail carrier listeners. Look, we very much appreciate the work that you guys are doing.
But John Merrill's the man.
pulled the dog off the bone, is what you did, Mark. You said, get away from that steak. You've had enough.
The beef is hot today. You got what?
Hey, we got to
Beef,
argue about this shit. We got to argue about it. It's good to argue. It's good to
Absolutely,
laugh.
good to
And
have an
laugh.
open dialogue.
Beef, I was going to take us out, but I'm going to give it to you. I want to give you the last word here.
Also, wait, Beef, take the last word, but he buried me in Alabama football facts.
He's a
Sorry to all the LSU fans out there. All I had was that
Round one went to
Bama when I
Merrill.
was there.
Yeah.
Round one, Merrill.
Smart guy, handsome guy. That's going to over hard factor. Guys, remember, stickers are back. Big DNC recap tomorrow, which is going to be kind of a different kind of Florida Man Friday, but you're going to love it. We have a huge interview. You should tune in. It'll be our first Democrat in a long time, unless he cancels. Don't fucking cancel, or we're going to call you out. So there you go. There you have it. Have a great fucking day.